CCTA think they did a beautiful job of that and would like to return to that balanced center. So that's kind of where we're coming from. If you think similarly, I hope you'll decide to join us.
Touch a button to vote, whether it's yes or no, that this is the picture that I'm going to see. Not my name, not a light up on board that lights up beside my name, but I'm going to see this picture, which is, to me, one of the great things about having the early swearing-in ceremony here in Newbern. We had probably 300 folks. I wanted to see that picture, because those are the people who went out and worked and beat the streets and donated the money and gave them their time. Those are the folks who made this possible. And I just want to thank all of you for those. And I see a lot of you who work very, very hard and very, very diligent. And your work is not over. Your work is just beginning. The balance of power shifted from the Democrats to the Republicans. They've never had this many new freshman legislators coming in at one time in the history of the legislature. And so they are just working night and day just as hard as they can, just try and put things together so that we can open next Wednesday and seem like we know what we're doing. And so, but they're the ones that I've seen, they're excited about the change. I really think that most of the people in their hearts who work for state government inside the legislature are glad to see something finally changing. I really think that they've seen government, the direction that it's been going in for many, many, many years, and they're so glad that finally something is going to go in a different direction. And so, when you've got the people inside that feel that way, and you've got a head start already. I just wanted to share with you some of the things that I want to pay particular attention to when we get there. And one of the things, you can probably spend, as a freshman, you can probably spend this whole legislative session and never have to introduce a bill. And I'll tell you why. Because the Republicans have so many bills in their suitcases that they've tried to get heard on the floor in committees for the last 10 or 15 or 20 years. They're just going to pull them out, and all you've got to do is decide whether or not you want to support it or not. But some of the ones that are really dear to my heart that I listed this afternoon as I was talking. Voter ID. Yes. We've got to have voter ID. The State Board of Elections, I think, has finally come forth and said that it's not going to be a great deal of difficulty to put that in effect. The reports of people that you hear talk about people coming from out of state can't believe that you can walk in North Carolina and vote and not even have to prove who you are. And so that's one of the first things that we're going to do. I'm very interested in the Unborn Child Protection Act. I want to see that brought to the floor of the House. It's already written. All we have to do is put it back in committee and pass it in committee and bring it to the floor. We're going to see that happen very quickly. I'm also a firm believer in the Castle Doctrine. That's one that is kind of, if we're not careful, that's going to be taken away from us, because little by little they're chipping away at that law. And I do have a permit to carry, and I'm not going to tell you whether I'm armed tonight or not. But if you will somehow start shooting, you're not going to get out the door, I'll tell you that. It's going to be a hot topic, because we've got some municipalities in the state, especially in the central part of the state, that are just bulging at the seams, and they want to do forced annexation. And I have a problem with forced annexation. And so I don't think that you ought to make anybody, you ought to have enough on the plate to offer and entice them that they want to come in to your municipality. And so that's going to be hot here this year. Healthcare Protection Act. I'm tired of every time we read in the paper about what state is signing on to that to try and protect their citizens, that North Carolina is never even mentioned, because our politicians, our leadership in the past have taken so many handouts from Raleigh, from Washington, D.C., that they're afraid to say anything. And so that's something that we need to deal with. We need to protect the citizens of North Carolina. I was so glad to hear that the House repealed that yesterday, and Harry Reid says it will never get to the floor of the Senate, but I think it will, because I think going to vote up and down on that bill. But we can begin the process here in North Carolina, and regardless of what happens in Washington, D.C., at least we'll be going in the right direction. Because I don't think we need to make any of our citizens, by law, have to buy health insurance and punish and penalize them if they don't. That's a personal priority or a personal thing that they need to decide for themselves. We're going to be working on school choice. You've heard a lot about that. I think that that's a thing that North Carolina can benefit by. And I think all we have to do to get everybody on board with school choice is just to do some work with the revenue streams. If we can assure the public system that all of their money is not going to be sucked up by the private system or the charter school system, then they'll be satisfied because they'll welcome the relief, believe me. But right now, I think that the only thing they're worried about is their money being diverted to them. And so that's one of the big things that we have to overcome, that there's a way to do that. I'm always interested in anything that will lower the taxes for small business people and for everyday citizens, because I think we pay extremely too much in taxes. And I think that if we bring our government under control, that we can reverse the trend that's been going on, that we tax everything, and the tax rates keep going up and up and up. If you're in Craven, you've just gone through that. If you're in small business, you know what I'm talking about. If you're just on retirement, you know what I'm talking about. And so we've got to turn that part of it around. And the other thing that I'm really interested in is what we in North Carolina can do to help with our immigration problem. Because we do have an immigration problem in North Carolina. And we have people that are taken out of the system that have never put into the system. And that is not right, and it shouldn't be so. And so whatever we can do to look for that, I know a lot of the states are getting ready to pass legislation or present legislation about the children that are born here from illegal aliens, not automatically become U.S. citizens. And so that's going to be hot and heavy this year also. One of the things I'm looking forward to, and I was able to get, all the work, for you who don't know, all of the work of the legislature happens inside the committee hall. It happens in front of committees, because if it doesn't get by the committee, it doesn't get anywhere. And that's where the tough questions are asked, and that's where the witnesses come and testify, and that's where each side gets to present its arguments and present its cases. And those are the things that I'm looking forward to doing. Every committee that I put my name down for that I thought would help me help the people in my district in Eastern North Carolina, I got, and I'm so glad that I did. Whether it's agriculture or seafood or business growth or military or veterans affairs, I've got all of those, and I'm excited about getting seated on those and getting into the business of the state. But one of the ones that because it's in that, and I'm really excited about. I'm sitting on the committee for environment also, and in that committee is where you get to go back and look at the regulations that have been passed in every department. And folks, we just got too many regulations on the book.
Librarian from a middle school situation. I worked 20 years. If you didn't spend the money for your school lost the money. The money had to go back. So near the end of each year, the principal would come to me, and I would always have a list of books that we needed desperately for the library. She said, you have X amount of money, can you spend it in 3 days? Yes, ma'am, I can. I need those books. So in some situations, it was good to have that money and to have to be forced to spend it. At least the library got, children got some advantage.
Well, I agree. I mean, in every situation, you're going to have, there's good sides and bad sides. And the one I'm speaking to is the side that's not so good. It's the side that people spend stuff that they don't need. In your case, if you needed the books, you shouldn't have to wait until the very end and the principal come to you and say you can't spend the money. It should have been happening at the first of the year.
Norman, I understand this lady's concern, but there's always these some situations. If they go back in this budget, as you say, to zero base, which is a start, and I don't think you're gonna get that, but at least you could win with 90% of what they were getting before and justify anything above that.
That's, you're talking about leaving a base, and then any increase or anything above your baseline, they have to
You
justify.
have to justify, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a solution. I hadn't thought about that. That's what it
Are
sounds
you
like.
going to support that? How are
Absolutely.
you going to fight for that?
No, we have to balance the budget. The way it's been done in past years is that money has been stolen from everywhere to balance the budget. And not enough cost reduction has come with it. You know, I'm not for taking money from any other source, from the lottery money, from highway trust funds, for anything that's been set up in North Carolina as a saving mechanism for taxpayer dollars. I'm just not in favor of taking money out of that to balance the budget. You have to balance the budget like I have to balance my budget, and that's just go in and do away with things that you can't afford to buy. You can't get a new car this year, you got to drive the old one another year. I mean, the magnitude of the state budget is just huge when you think about it. But when you get right down to it, it's just like the one that I work on in Havelock every year. It's still what you get, what you bring in, and what you got going out. And there's one match the other. So it's a system that's going to take, don't expect us to go up there and change it the first year. But we've gone up there and we're going to try, because I think that that's an idea that has to be sold to some people. A lot of people have been advocating zero-based budget for a long time, and they think that's the end-all, cure-all. But you know, a portion of that is going to be good, because it just makes people sit down and look at what they're in authority over and decide whether or not it's still needed, or it's the best use of taxpayer money. And so I can't promise.
What about attaching bills on bills to get more money to file for?
I'm totally against that.
You're going to work?
I think each bill needs to stand on their own. I don't think we need to become a little Washington D.C. where we've got a popular bill going through, you attach 25 other bills to it so that they go through unnoticed or unchallenged. I don't believe that at all.